This is something that I have been asked a lot. People saying, I really want to learn Frisian, but don't know where to begin. This video is for you. I'm very excited to share with you how to learn Frisian, and I hope many of you decide to give it a go. This is quite a long video, so there's several timestamps in the description below regarding different parts of the video about motivation, different online resources, different in-person resources, and I'll be mentioning a lot of different websites, and there'll be links to absolutely everything in that description, so go and check it out. Now, when it comes to learning languages, your starting point is very important. So for example, if you were an Italian and you wanted to learn Spanish, that might be a little bit easier than if your first language was, say, Chinese or Russian. Well, when it comes to learning Frisian, if you already speak Dutch, I would say that the approach to going about learning Frisian may be somewhat different to if you have a different language as your first language. In this video, I'm going to be talking about if you don't speak Dutch as a first language and you're learning from English, then this is how to, as an English speaker, learn to speak Frisian.
Baby, that's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
All right, number one, why?
Why?
When it comes to achieving any goal, motivation is key, especially so with language learning. Learning languages can be really hard. If you're drooling at another verb conjugation table, you might want to give up and quit. That's why it's important to have good reasons backing you for learning any language, including a language as awesome as Frisian. So let me give you some reasons. Well, historically, you may have historical ties with Friesland. Maybe you have ancestors who came from Friesland who spoke Frisian. Maybe you have family who speak Frisian and you want to impress them. Or perhaps you want to impress that special someone who's a Frisian speaker. You know, I got you covered. But let's not just talk about history on History with Hilbert, let's do a little bit of science, because scientifically speaking any other language apart from one is really good for your brain in a load of ways, whether that's Frisian or anything else. Ranging all the way from growing the actual size of your white and grey matter to increasing your attention span, decreasing the onset of Alzheimer's or dementia, as well as becoming better at problem solving and improving your memory. There are a whole host of studies that show just how good it is to speak more than one language. Why not make that other language Frisian? In fact, just look at the difference that we see in the grey matter volume in someone who only speaks English on the right and someone who speaks both English and Spanish on the left. Now, I was interested what happens to that brain when you learn Frisian instead, and the results are frankly incredible and made up.
What would happen if we unlocked 100% of the cerebral capacity?
100%?
Gelezen spul met in de Bijbel en wie ik altijd bij het is, joh.
There are also some great reasons to specifically learn Frisian. Now, Frisian is classed as a vulnerable language. It is a minority language that could, in the future, become extinct if action isn't taken. So if you learn Frisian, you're helping to stop that from happening because, hey, more people have learned Frisian. You also show Frisians back home in Friesland, hey, our language is worth keeping. People from abroad are interested and want to learn to speak the language. Unlike speakers of certain other languages, they will also respond incredibly well if you come to Friesland and try and speak Frisian. In Friesland, there is a very important concept which is gemeenschap. This means community, and by learning to speak Frisian, you can become a part of that community. Frisian is also the closest language to English, making it one of the easiest, if not the easiest language for English speakers to learn. So if you're bad at learning languages, but you still want to learn one, Frisian is literally the easiest one you can get. Most of the time, it tops the charts as being called the easiest language for English speakers to learn, followed by Dutch and Norwegian. And while more people might speak Dutch and Norwegian, here's why you shouldn't learn those two.
And the men, they wouldn't talk to me.
And in Dutch, good luck speaking one sentence in Dutch before the Dutch person switches to English because they would rather speak English than try and understand Dutch. Frisians, on the other hand,
Ik wil een boertje en een bruine koe.
Een brune koe?
Een bruine koe.
Een brune koe, ja.
Dank u wel.
So I've got myself a cow.
and it's not just the Frisians themselves who'll be impressed. Imagine you meeting someone for the first time, they ask, do you speak any languages? And you hit them with a standard, oh, I speak a bit of French or a bit of German. Wow, great, so does everyone else. Then you hit them with, actually I've been learning Frisian. Frisian? What is that? I thought it was a cow. Instant conversation starter.
Brilliant, yeah, got it. I'm so bloody fascinated, James. I'd like to glue my brain to your face.
You may know the phrase boterbrei and green cheese is good English and good Fries, but did you know that linguists have calculated that English and Frisian share 80% lexical similarity with one another? This is immediately obvious when comparing certain words, which makes it way easier to learn as you'll be able to recognize tons of vocabulary without putting in any extra effort. Go, skip, brei, cheese, hoes, fjeld, roin, dai, goes. And with Frisian, that extends to less basic words too, making for an overall much more fun learning experience as you constantly stumble across cognates and related terms which aren't shared with Dutch or many of the other Germanic languages. Tejere, indeed, rei, mank, pat, harkje, alteest, duimbij, smoken, tebek. So if you wanted to learn a language but haven't, this is your chance. Alright, we're learning Frisian, but how? First, the basics. Of course, the best way to learn a language from home these days is Duolingo, which doesn't have Frisian. Luckily, there are some alternatives for app-based learning. There are several unofficial Frisian courses on Memrise. Unfortunately, Memrise recently removed all community-made courses from their app, including the one that I'd spent months preparing for you.
Yeah, throw them out into the cold. You know, don't give them their
courses.
No
courses.
However, you can still access it using the browser to learn basic Frisian, using the same kinds of phrases and sentence build-up as you'd find on Duolingo. I also created a separate course just for vocabulary. There is one app and website for learning Frisian called Learn Frisian, with a lot of different levels to help you get to grips in the language. It involves audio and different levels, and even has some resources on sale to Frisian too if you're interested in that. Note that the type of Frisian being taught with this app is Waardfriesk rather than Afhoek or Standard Frisian. I'll be covering the main features of Waardfriesk in a video soon, but it's good to be aware of the fact that you may encounter slightly different forms on Learn Frisian than say in an Afhoek Frisian course. The main dialects are all very mutually intelligible though, so this won't be a barrier to communication at all. And Waardfriesk is actually the largest dialect area of Frisian, so it's pretty good to learn. You can supplement these apps with Taalportaal, which is basically an online textbook in English explaining everything from pronunciation to grammar rules, syntax, and some dialect features too. It also has some information on sale to Frisian. Immersion is one of the most important aspects of language learning. Outside of actually moving to Friesland, the internet provides several resources to help you do this. One of the best passive ways to learn is through listening to music, and luckily there's a lot to choose from. The classics, bands that all Frisians know and love. The cost is well known throughout the Netherlands, as are Twarres. Why not listen to Sjoerd and Sa? You might even recognize someone in their music videos once in a while. There's rock and metal music like the typical Roeghouwer Waardpik rockers, de Hoenekop. Or if you're into something more historical, try the metal band Balders Draumar, who make metal music. Or acoustic music if you're into something a bit quieter and easier to follow. Similar in this vein is the band Idol. Something more contemporary is also available. Drill rap, or at least a tongue-in-cheek version of it, has made it to Friesland. Lil Pier, a play on the Frisian resistance fighter Grutte Pier, is himself someone who learned Frisian as a third language and now raps in Frisian.
What the fuck ben ik nog aan het snuiven? Wanneer ik flex, schuggen alle mannen nu.
The Südwestschenkers rap using a very gay form of Frisian, meaning they actively try to avoid overt Dutch influences.
Their name references the Südwest area of Friesland, which is also one of the dialects spoken in Friesland, and they make a sort of tongue-in-cheek drill rap music, saying that their region is the best region, and the other regions should be careful if they ever show up.
Zakkenbooien op, het worden maar gebieden. De Südwestschenkers houden op, zien alle krieten. We mondje die koud, als je mem haar warm eten.
One of the members of the band also has a solo project called Hilbert, which also raps in this kind of Frisian, and one of their songs, Undervinding, is all about more Frisian forms of Frisian and more Dutch-influenced forms of Frisian. So it's a really good way to actually brush up on your Frisian if you're trying to get rid of a few of those Dutch influences.
Ik kom uit Zuidwest, uit het warme het. En ze praten hier Fries, maar nooit krijgt echt net. Dus let me dan vertellen hoe ze hier vol praten. In plak voor reetrieden, sinds de schaatsen. Ik hier haast geen haast, maar alleen maar bijna. Ik ga een bosje kooien, maar dat is net wat zij gaan. Nee, sleutels. Is het de bosk of het bosk? Zelfs naar de tandarts voor die losse tosk.
You can also check out numerous Frisian language covers of songs in English. Songs like Blowing in the Wind by Bot Djellema.
En hoeveel delen kost het nog? Eet je het, wat is dit om een nog? Het antwoord bin fun, dat roes het in de wind.
And by Leendert Koenstra,
because who could forget the amazing translation and cover of Hallelujah by Nienke Laverman.
And there's more upbeat classics too, by the one and only Country Wietske.
Breng mij weer thuis, al haak je zin, al haak je luus. Wel naar mijn Friesland, mijn mooie Friesland. Breng mij weer thuis.
There's also radio and podcasts available in Frisian on the Frisian radio station Omroep Friesland, and Friesland Doc for long-form documentary content. I even think there's some ASMR in Frisian, but I don't really want to put that on my channel. On YouTube, you can also find several channels hosted entirely in Frisian, including some of Omroep Friesland's content and the Frieske Vlogger, who's recently been doing a series of street interviews asking people about which dialect of West Frisian they speak.
Dat spreken ze in Zuidwest-Friesland. Haast 60.000 mensen spreken deze variant.
Wat zei jouw biggeliekst in die ding die je onder voeten had? Wat ben dat?
Dat ben de skun hier in Balkst.
Ja, we gaan in de schuilen en we rennen naar de zone.
Bjatje, butsje, dorp en buit en nou ja, overal waar een O komt is een ui.
The internet is also a great place for getting together with other people learning Frisian. This is not only good for finding more resources and practicing with both native and second language speakers, but also for keeping your motivation. The best community I've found is the Frisian Languages Discord channel, which has learners of West, East and North Frisian languages and offers the chance to practice speaking as well as asking questions about learning and stockpiling resources. I asked some of the users who'd learned Frisian about their experiences and their tips, highlighting their methods for learning in yellow and their motivation and what they got out of it in blue. Feel free to pause the video and see what they wrote, as it can be very insightful. Well, this video focuses on West Frisian and how to learn it. These tips are covering both West Frisian, the Asters Island variety of West Frisian, and North Frisian too. If you're not on Discord, the Learning the West Frisian Language group on Facebook also has a community of native and second language speakers sharing their experiences. But in my experience, the Discord group is a bit more active, and that has the added bonus of you being able to speak and practice speaking and listening too.
For actually writing in Frisian on your phone, I would recommend getting an app called Gboard or SwiftKey, which has the sort of suggestions and predictive text in Frisian and is really good for spelling. In terms of translation, there are translation services available on Google Translate from English to Frisian, though in my experience, these usually aren't very good. A better option is Frieske, though the majority of information and the translation service on there are only available in Dutch or Frisian. They also have an app, Oorzetter, which offers Frisian-Dutch translations. There's also the old school method of learning Frisian through textbooks and courses. I would highly recommend Jan Popkema's Frisian Grammar The Basics, which I also used on my Frisian language journey and found particularly helpful for broadening my understanding without being overwhelmed with information at the same time. The same people behind the Learn Frisian website and app also have brought out several books with information on learning Frisian too, so they're worth checking out. And there are several English Frisian dictionaries out there. Frisker also provides an online English Frisian dictionary, which is a must-have for learning Frisian from afar. It's free to download. Online courses are also available in various forms. From time to time, limited temporary access to the Future Learn course on Frisian is free and available to purchase thereafter. It's a solid course with a lot of information, further resources and videos teaching the language. The AFUC also offer various courses that can be ordered to wherever you live to start learning Frisian. This includes a textbook and exercises in writing, reading, listening and speaking. These are available in English, Dutch and German. You can also learn in person, of course. At the University of Groningen, the MA in Minorities and Multilingualism has several optional modules in Frisian for both Frisian and English speakers. Other modules also focus on the socio-linguistic and historical aspects of Frisian and its current position as well as that of other minority languages. Note though that this course was discontinued and I think the last of the course will be run in 2025 to 2026. But there will be a new specific Frisian course coming in its place, probably for both undergraduates and master's students, which would be ideal. The AFUC also offer a range of courses in Frisian, but for that you would have to get to Friesland, and these are given in Dutch and Frisian. Alright, so this was a long one, but I wanted to share as much information as I could on how to learn Frisian in the way that suits you.
Of course, another way to learn Frisian is to keep watching Frisian with Hilbert, because I'm making weekly videos about Frisian. In the future, I'm going to be doing some interviews entirely in Frisian with English subtitles, and I want to make some active language learning videos as well on various topics, as you'll see. So stick around. Please share this channel with other people that you think would be interested, as that will help us to grow and to reach more people. And thank you ever so much for all your support. Let me know in the comments below, are you going to start trying to learn Frisian? Have you already started? I'd love to keep track of your journey. So, with me, together, let's do it. Let's learn some Frisian. I have been Hilbert, ik wie Hilbert, en dit wie het Fries. Onthoor een keer en ontsjen.